That was a
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Sacred Anarchies, a post-church podcast. Baz, do you know what I was thinking right before we jumped on to record this?
let me just rub my third eye and see if I can catch your thoughts in space. No, of course I don't know what you're thinking.
I was thinking about how everyone has the fancy kind of minute and a half long intros in which they give you kind of the standard, this is the such and such podcast, and we exist to do this. And if you want to find out more about us, go here and blah, blah, blah. And we don't have that. But I just want to say that that is by design. We kind of start right in with the live stuff by design, because to be honest, I know that's the way podcasts are, but I actually, as a consumer of podcasts, I don't like listening to those intros. I'm just like, let's just hurry this up and fast forward this.
I actually already started to doze off when you were describing how podcasts.
Is that so?
Yeah, I don't know why I find that somewhat irritating, but yeah.
I don't know, not to like dig on anyone else's podcast, but
yeah, of course. And I think it's also that, if you listen to a podcast regularly, you kind of know what that thing is.
yeah.
I mean,
How would you describe our podcast if we had to do like a 1 or 2 line description?
We get online, we chat, we get offline.
There we go. Well, this week, so we're past Valentine's Day already, but we are going to talk a little bit about love. We would be remiss to come up on February 14th and not say a little bit about this international holiday set aside for lovers, despite the fact that, we have little offshoots like Valentine's Day and things like that, which I like. I think that's cool.
What's Valentine's Day?
What?
I think I saw it, but
You've never heard of Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I think I have, but I've never really paid any attention to it.
Yeah, it's like, when you don't have a romantic partner, it's like you're hanging out with your gals. It's Galentine's as well as Valentine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a Boyentine's Day?
Guyentine? I don't know. I'm sure there are like all sorts of things out there. And, people like honor the romantic partners in their lives if they have one. But I've seen so many things on Facebook, like, a marriage of friends and community. And it's like, pressure. What?
It's a lot of pressure somehow to celebrate love. Yeah. Like it's kind of shoehorning everybody in so nobody's left out.
Yeah. And I talk to so many people every year, and there are like 2 huge camps. Obviously, there's the camp of those who celebrate Valentine's Day, and then there's the camp of like, oh, this is just a ridiculous corporate holiday that's like all about money and selling greeting cards and chocolates and, flowers. And obviously we can see the consumer side of it, and that's kind of not a great, but at the same time, I do like it that there is a day where we can celebrate romantic love if that is something that we have in our lives. I can see the other side of the coin where it makes a single person, whether by choice or, completely involuntary, how it might be isolating or whatever, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think that gets a little too precious when people feel included or I mean, I sort of understand, but it's like, you kind of have to look at these things and go, well, it's a day like any other day, and suck it up until you get love. Well, that was horrible.
Suck it up so you get laid, really.
Yeah. I discovered about Valentine's Day, because I figured we can't really go through a podcast without mentioning something to do with Nick Cave. Do you know that Valentine's Day is Warren Ellis's birthday?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's a good reason to celebrate Valentine's Day. Listen to Nick Cave.
Celebrate Valentine's Day.
Carnage really loud.
I know.
Faith, Hope, and Carnage.
What was that?
Faith, Hope, and Carnage.
Faith, Hope, and Carnage. I don't hate that, actually. We should do something with that. That's kind of interesting.
That's the title of his book that's coming out this year.
Is it? That's right. Yeah. I knew it was familiar. I haven't looked at anything on his new book in a while because it's not coming out for like several months. So I'm like, I don't want to just get all hyped up and excited for this one. It's just going to be a delayed gratification.
There's a sense in which, if you think about all the descriptors of love. There is a carnage aspect to love. You know, it does like rip up the world in kind of positive ways. And I don't know, is there negativity in love? I don't know, but it does tear up all of the neatly prescribed worlds that we inhabit, which I think is why we're so hungry for it at times.
Indeed, indeed. Well, you read my Patreon this week, right? You liked it. You said you liked
I
it.
did like it, yes. Your
Yeah.
Patreon was very good.
Well,
Your
I make
Patreon's
these.
always good.
Thank you. I make these so is yours. I make these various claims about love. And the first claim I make about love is that love is morbid. You know, among the fact that love is morbid, I say love is bewitching and love is daft and love is
All
narcotic.
around us, it's everywhere I go. Feel
Everywhere
it in my
I
fingers.
go. Anyway, back
My
to
toes.
the morbid part, kind of what you were saying in terms of carnage. You know, Alan Badaud, a philosopher that we both really like, his little book In Praise of Love. If you're listening to this, rather than watching on YouTube, you could head to the YouTube and actually see the cover of the book, which is really pretty. It's pink and white and red. And it's just a little kind of a little book that lifts up love in some really important ways. But he has this one section in which he talks about love as a tenacious adventure. And he says, we could say that love is a tenacious adventure. The adventurous side is necessary, but equally so is the need for tenacity. And he goes on to say, real love is one that triumphs lastingly, sometimes painfully, over the hurdles erected by time and space and the world. And then if you read further, he talks about how everyone's existence, when tested by love, confronts a new way of experiencing time. And then he uses this phrase, the dour desire to endure, and to ultimately endure desire for an unknown duration. And I thought that was really interesting because that truly does speak of carnage. And this is the quote that I make the claim off of, that death is morbid. I've just got death on the brain because of our dance with death. But that love is actually morbid. Because when love is unreciprocated, when love is unrequited, when love is messy and complex and complicated and totally multi-layered, time moves so slowly for us. You know, it's one thing to kind of engage love in the most ideal of ways, which everyone will still experience pain because we're human, and love just kind of lays us the most bare and vulnerable out of anything in life and in the world. But when you're enduring the pain that love does cause, you know, time does move so slowly. It is an excruciating process. It is a carnal process that reminds us of really kind of how weak we can truly be. And it kind of brings you to the point of like mental death almost. Sometimes the pain makes you just want to die, but it doesn't necessarily lead you to death, but it is morbid, I would say.
I mean, that's a really interesting descriptor, and a kind of unusual one, really, because we don't often use those kind of things. Funny. There's this
Sorry,
guy.
did I say death is morbid again? I meant to say love is morbid. I keep saying death.
That's all right. Love and death, they go hand in hand.
Just so everyone knows, when I say death, I mean to say love.
Maybe there's something Freudian going on here.
Very, quite possibly.
There's this guy I like. He teaches at the New School. His name is Dominic Petman. He writes on a lot. You know him. He writes a lot on media and stuff. And he wrote this book called Creaturely Love, which is about. It's part of a series, a sort of trilogy of books where he's looking at human creatureliness. You know, he posted this on Valentine's Day on Twitter, and it's just interesting. He says, in love, we pant like dogs, we scratch like cats, we howl like wolves, we bellow like oxen, we fight like stags, we scheme like foxes, we preen like monkeys, we sulk like donkeys, we coo like doves, we flirt like butterflies, we quiver like jellyfish, we dance like bees, we sing like nightingales, we thrill like dolphins, we wait like alligators, we watch like owls, we strike like snakes, we recoil like turtles, we brood like mares, we fret like penguins, we mourn like elephants, we coerce like water striders, we endure like mollusks, we murmur like starlings, we lick each other into shape like bears, we flee like jackalopes, and we blush like debutantes.
Okay. Wow.
And that was his happy creaturely Valentine's Day. Those are all expressions that we use as human beings to
Yeah.
describe what's happening with love, which I think plays into your sense of disruption. You know, love kind of it disrupts language because
Yeah.
I think that's why when it comes to things like love and death, to come back around to your linking today,
My Freudian slips. Yeah.
in a sense, only the poetic suffices,
Indeed.
because there's that, you know, in a sense, love gets in the way of the rational and the didactic. That's why in religion, when people start describing what love is, especially like in, you know, the Christian religion, it becomes very functional and utilitarian and kind of, oh, it's this. And I find it kind of interesting that at some point they picked the word charity over the word love to try and capture
Yeah.
something a bit more expansive. But I think it's kind of interesting that when we want to talk about love, we revert to all of these descriptors, which basically tells you we know everything and nothing about love.
That's the thing. We don't know
Like
much about it.
the whole of human
Yeah.
history, you know, is riddled with accounts of you know, the call to love, the mandate of love, the command to love, the desire to love, the for all kinds, whether it's romantic or, you know, friendship love, or, you know, love between people groups, or whatever. But you know, there's work after work, writing after writing, and we never stop accumulating language for love,
Yeah.
because it's beyond, I think, in a sense, our ability to capture. We get glimpses of it, and I think that's what's interesting about love, and maybe that's what's one of the things that Badiou was referencing, you know, that kind of weird thing where love always stands both inside and outside of time.
Yeah.
And
Maybe rather than love is morbid, maybe you know, to take that a bit further, you know, maybe like love is mortal.
well, yeah, I mean, I mean, it sort of, it is, and yet we sort of claim it as immortal and eternal. You know, we speak of eternal love, you know,
Yeah.
and yet it's rooted in, I mean, what an amazing thing that as human beings we have this capacity for love, for a thing that we can't actually fully describe, or that we're never content to describe just one way.
Yeah.
Even even when you fall in love with somebody, and even if you fall in love with, you know, you've fallen in love with somebody and then you fall out with that person and you fall in love with someone else, you use a whole different language to describe what that love is with that person.
Oh
It's very
yeah,
seldom,
absolutely.
very
Absolutely.
seldom that you go back and you go, oh yeah, I feel this. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we search for a whole new vocabulary, not because the old one didn't suffice, but because
Yeah.
somehow, I don't know.
Well, and how many times do we try and describe love, or, that new feeling of meeting someone new and falling in love in the beginning, and it's really impossible to describe. People say all the time, oh, I'm speechless, or, I don't have any words to describe this. That is that feeling. And as much as kind of love lifts us out of ourself and, makes us speechless, renders us wordless, it also needs us in a sense, I think, because love is completely subjective. You were just saying kind of falling in and out of love with various people. And, every time I've been in love, every time I've loved someone, and I've been in love with multiple people. Most people have been in their lives. I just as a side, I think it's really weird when people are like, oh, I thought I was in love before, but I'm really in love now, or I haven't known love before until I met this person. And I think what's happening in there is that they are rightly drawing distinctions between people that they loved and the way they felt about that particular love. Now, it doesn't mean that like that love was any worse or better. It was just different. Every time I've loved and been in love, I've been in love differently. It hits different every time, and I describe it differently every time. I don't know. Has that been your experience with being in love?
Yeah, I think so. And I think part of that thing as well, when people say, oh, I thought I was in love before, but now I really know what love is I also think that masks a little bit of cultural guilt. Because I think what looms in our society still is this idea that you should always get things right the first time. Or that,
totally.
Or to come back to the thing we said a minute ago, that love lasts forever. It doesn't. Sometimes it runs out.
Indeed, it runs out, and sometimes it's past its sell-by date, or we outlive it, or we outgrow it, and that's okay.
Yeah, and this idea that everything lasts forever, I think is problematic, and I think with love that even in the world that we inhabit, culturally today in the 21st century, where most people have had, more than one partner, maybe have been married more than once, probably had more than one lover, and yet it still somehow we have to kind of go, oh no, this is, it's always, this is the one. I don't know. Anyway, we're off on a tangent.
No,
in my head, I was thinking about as we were talking, I was like, can I think of it while we're talking? Can I think of any like pop songs? And I was thinking, love is a drug. There ain't no cure for love. Love is blindness. The desperate kingdom of love, the mystery of love. Get ready for love. Love, love, love. She loves you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to fill the world with silly love songs.
The glory of love. Well, it's funny. So I keep kind of, this whole podcast is the kind of running joke is me kind of substituting death for love. But as you were talking, I started thinking about that verse in Song of Solomon or Song of Songs in chapter 8, where the writer says, love is as strong as death. And I was remembering, I don't know, probably a decade ago now, I got a wedding invitation to a very Christian evangelical Pentecostal wedding in which that was on the invitation. Oh. And even my most Christian-y of friends at that time, we got the invitation and we were like, whoa.
That's a whoa. That's a whoa moment.
Yeah. For love is strong as death. And death is pretty massive.
And to be fair, there is an element of dying that comes with love.
Indeed. Yeah.
Things come alive, but things die.
Yeah.
And there's a part of all of us, I think, that we have to let go of in order to exchange it.
Love needs us, and as love approaches us each time, it changes, right? Like we just kind of said, but we also change every time we approach love. And that's kind of the beauty of it. And that's kind of the beauty of life in general, because that can be said about a lot of things, not just love. but I think love is probably one of the strongest things that changes us and breaks us and kind of makes us new in different areas. But I do want to just say this full verse of Song of Solomon. I've just looked it up while we were talking here because it's really intense. I haven't engaged the book of Song of Solomon in like a cajillion billion years. I never even liked it when I was, evangelical. It was just
of course not.
well, as a single evangelical, you're not having sex. You don't want to read like this kind of erotic literature. And this isn't erotic literature. It's erotic poetry, and it's very metaphorical, and it's really hard to like wrap your head around. Anyway,
yeah, I don't think it's about Jesus. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Yes, precisely. So verse 6 in chapter 8, set me as a seal upon thy heart, as a seal upon thy arm, for love is strong as death. Jealousy is cruel as the grave. The coals thereof are coals of fire, which have a most vehement flame.
Yeah, jealousy.
Yeah, and then we're talking about jealousy here. I'm not having this on my wedding invitation. I mean,
yeah, right.
I won't be giving out any more wedding invitations, hopefully, in my life, but this would not be on it.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Well.
So there we go. Love is as strong as death, apparently, according to the author of Song of Solomon.
You know what one of my favorite songs
I was on the right track this whole time.
Yeah, see, you just pulled it all together like in a neat little string.
There we go. Not so much carnage after all. Just a grave and jealousy and cruelty with a vehement flame.
And morbidity.
You know,
one of my favorite songs. You know what one of my favorite songs about love is, and I think we need to promote it on this podcast.
Say.
Stevie Wonder's "Love's in Need of Love Today" from Songs in the Key of Life.
You want to give us a couple bars before we end?
Oh God, no! I can't sing Stevie Wonder. Nobody should sing Stevie Wonder songs, but
Stevie Wonder. Exactly.
So everybody should go check that song out because it's just stunning.
Exactly. And I'm sure Love and Stevie Wonder will probably both appear at some point in our Dance with Death Lenten series starting March 6th. So if you have not signed up for that, make sure you do it. We'll drop it in the show notes. You can head to our Instagram. You can head to our website. It's pretty much everywhere. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be, and not only is the content going to be good, but you're going to get a feast for the eyes as well. We're going to bring our strong Lenten Dance of Death fashion to every session.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. Black skulls, hearts. Who knows? I don't know. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Okay.
We said we were going to dress the part. Why are you looking at me like I'm making this up?
Oh, no. I just sort of had a moment. I was like having a fashion moment trying to work it out while I was talking.
All right, everyone. That's it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week on Sacred Anarchies, a post-church podcast with no intro and no outro, just us.
Yeah. See, we get online, we have a chat. Now we're offline.
Oh, we're offline. Ciao.
Ciao.